What's up, guys? Jacob here. Just recently finished a 3-hour exclusive Q&A session for the Elite Keyword Mastermind, my course that shows you how to find profitable keywords, and I give you keywords every month to publish for that are proven to be profitable and are working great for our students. So we just completed the Mastermind session. Huge success. Thank you for everyone who came live on a Sunday afternoon, evening, depending on where you were, and it all came together, and it was a lot of fun. Believe it or not, for a 3-hour session, time went pretty quick, didn't tire out, and there were some really good, solid questions overall. So I'm just so happy that things went really well. One thing that I wanted to bring up today is a question that kind of stuck out to me afterwards. It was more of, wow, this student has good intentions and he's a great guy, and I'll keep him anonymous because I'm not picking on him. I was just thinking about this overall. His question was, hey Jacob, Emeka told me in person and also through the blueprint to avoid publishing books in the self-help niche. What are areas of self-help that I could safely publish for? Okay, on premise, sounds like a fair question, and rightfully so. I mean, it's a Q&A session. You can ask whatever you want. The issue with that, in my head, is, okay, this guy subscribes to a course that he paid for. He already works with a coach. I mean, Emeka and I don't compete, but, you know, I coach with Kindle Publishing. He coaches too. So this guy is already with Emeka, and what he's doing is he's getting an answer from Emeka and trying to approach someone else, me, with the possibility that the answer that I'm going to provide is different from Emeka. First off, Emeka and I actually agree with 95%, maybe even like 98% of how to do self-publishing. So like we work with each other every day. So the answer is not really going to change for most questions. Not for most questions. So in that regard, like you're going to get the same answer from either of us on most things, because we've seen what works, what doesn't, what performs optimally, what performs okay, and what does not perform. So, you know, we've been through it a lot through the past, for him 2 years, for me in a year and a half as his first ever student. So right off the bat, you're probably not going to get a different answer from me. But secondly, it's just that when you're working with a coach, you really, in anything, not just business, it can be even in sports, with relationships, with, you know, psychology, whatever. If you're working with a coach, you need to essentially allow your coach to brainwash you and follow 100% of what he or she says. Okay? Now, why do I say that? You are subscribing to a coach because you've seen their level of success, their level of accomplishment, and you want to attain what they are what they've either reached or what they're reaching for in the short term. And it's someone that's usually much better than you, and you're trying to catch up to, you know, eventually where your coach is or was. So with that, your coach, if he or she is good, has a track record of not only their own personal success, but a track record of students who have also succeeded using their way. Now, Emeka is someone who has a track record of students who have done well his way. I'm one of them, believe it or not. Yes, I am one of them. So why would you go to a second coach and try to change the methodology or the approach from what your original coach is teaching you? See what I'm saying? Like, why do you want to maybe not half-ass, because that's a little harsh, but why would you want to follow 80% of your coach's advice and work with a different coach on your other 20% of the game. See what I'm saying? So, and especially for something as fundamental as tackling self-help, as a newbie with still no skill in terms of how to successfully not only publish a book, but how to market and profitably market a book. With doing it in something like self-help that is so saturated. Like if we were to go to Amazon right now and just type in self-help books, we are looking at the most arguably saturated keyword in all of nonfiction. Maybe health and fitness or even the keto diet could be a close second, but this is pretty much number one in terms of saturation and competition in all of nonfiction. Correct me if I'm wrong, but with over 70,000 results for self-help books, it is going to be really hard to differentiate yourself as a brand new publisher, self-published author with no real marketing spend, no real resources to come up organically for even page 10. Okay? So for something like this, the answer is going to be universal. You should not try to tackle general self-help or even yet an area of self-help, because it's still too broad. Like if you were going to motivational self-help, okay, that's an area. You're still going to get attacked from the same books, and it's still super saturated. So that right there, you would be told a universal answer of just stay away from self-help for the beginning. But also, see that mentality of, okay, you are already told no by your coach. Why would you expect coach number 2 to give you a different answer? Are you just requesting permission to go into something that you want to do despite having a no from your first coach? Like, are you looking for an excuse like, oh, Jacob told me to do it. Jacob told me so. Jacob said it was okay. Like, that's number one. Not that it would get me in trouble, but, you know, that would be a little bit of a rift between your coach and me. So, you know, don't cause that liability. And I know you're not trying to do that. But just think too, like, hey, if you don't fulfill what you're needing to deliver, and I told you maybe it was okay to go for it, but unbeknownst to me, like your original coach told you not to do that, okay, now that kind of puts some spotlight on me. And hey, I'm not going to get in trouble, but it doesn't look good. It does not look good. And number 2, again, if you're going to work with a coach, you either follow he or she to the bitter end, or you don't work with them at all. Okay? So, in thinking of where Emeka and I differ is probably our approach with the business and publishing. So think about this. And I'm going to keep it a little bit more black and white. I mean, there's some overlap between us. But for this example, let's keep it black and white. Let's say Emeka is a self-publisher who does use an email list, does use a brand of books across one genre, maybe even one keyword, one area of a keyword, and has like 10 books spread out through one genre. Whereas I'm a little bit all over the place. Like, yeah, I have a brand of computer programming books, and I have a brand on a game, and then I have a brand that's developing for technology. But I'm a little bit all over the place. Which coach will you succeed with if you spent a year of tutelage under him? Emeka or me? The answer is you would do well with either. Okay? Despite the fact that maybe I don't use an email list for any of my books, or the fact that he, Emeka, doesn't take advantage of short-term trends as well as I do, okay, we're both still, individually in our own respects, very successful with self-publishing. And if you follow everything we teach you, either way, whether it's him or me, you're going to do well. So you either stick with your coach's approach, or you just use someone else's approach entirely. I mean, once you get more like intermediate and advanced and you know what you're doing, then yeah, you can like be a little bit of a Bruce Lee and take some good from this person and some good from that and like make some Jeet Kune Do. Maybe Do. I don't know. I don't do JKD. But anyway, until you get to that level where you can experiment and can deviate from what's being taught to you, stick to what your coach is teaching you and follow through all the way. So, don't want to be too preachy. I'm not a Mr. Rogers. I don't want to sound like I'm pointing my finger at you and wagging at it like you're in trouble. But realize if you're working with a coach, you work with them all the way. Okay? So, I'm not mad. I'm not spiteful. I did not get triggered when I saw the question, but it's just something to think about. And whatever you do, like even in sports, like why would I work with the same coach for 3 years in powerlifting, remain with him, and then maybe for everything related to the deadlift, work with another coach? Like, if this coach is reputed to like be world class in all three lifts for what I do, why would I want to go to a different coach for one entire lift? It wouldn't make sense. So just do what you're told, even if you're not happy with everything that you are told to do. And I'm kind of self-reflecting, like, yeah, I don't do everything Emeka tells me to do either. But hey, you're an absolute beginner, and I'm an absolute beginner in some respects too, other than publishing. But thinking of that, either hire your coach and work with them all the way, or don't hire them at all. And that's all I've got for today, guys. Until then, good night. Later.